Hello everyone and welcome to the Arbor Farm. Thank you for joining us for today's episode where I want to show you how you can dry gorgeous flowers. Let's get started. Let's take a look at some of these gorgeous flowers that we have dried. Drying flowers works for a variety. We've included zinnia, dahlias, cosmos, black-eyed Susan, and several different colors and variations of each one. You might be asking yourself, what kind of flowers can you dry? I just showed you our zinnias and dahlias, cosmos, black-eyed Susan, but you could potentially dry sunflowers, peonies, roses, and most any flower. The key to success, though, is you need to let them dry fully. So for flowers that are thicker, like peonies and potentially roses, you will need that to allow them a longer drying time to allow them to dry fully. Otherwise, you risk mold and rot and things like that. So I'm going to show you the supplies that you'll need, and then we'll get started. Before I get into the supplies, I wanted to mention there are potentially several uses for dried flowers. You can use them in a botanical candle. You can use them as framed art. And there are so many crafts that you can do. If you just go to Pinterest or Google and look around, so many options and such beauty there to be enjoyed. So I hope that this video not only helps you to understand the methodology or the step-by-step on how to do it, but also inspires you to get started. So what will you need to get started in drying flowers? There are two things that we recommend, and that is any kind of bowl, a large bowl with a lid so that you can seal it closed. And then we like to use this flower drying silica. And I'll put a link in the description below so that you can pick one up online and have it delivered to you. We like this. You'll notice that it says here that it has a color indicating feature. If the silica gel is orange, that means that it's fresh. If it's dark green, that means it's saturated. And so you can recharge it and put it in the oven and get it back to how it should be, so that the job of the silica gel is to absorb the moisture from the flowers so that you can preserve them and keep them for weeks and months to come and use them in your crafts. So this is the key, as well as any large bowl that has a lid. All right, let's look at how to do it. Here are our step-by-step instructions for drying flowers. In your bowl, you're gonna pour your silica gel or your sand from your bottle into the bowl. And then what we do is we just pour a little in there and then add our flowers and then add some more sand on top so that the flower is fully covered. Now when I'm doing something like a dahlia that's more three-dimensional, I like to put the flower face up because I want to pour my sand into that so that it maintains its shape. That's important to me. I don't want a squished flower. I want it to maintain its three-dimensional shape, and so I lay it face up, then I add my sand on top. But when I'm working with zinnias, on the other hand, I might lay those face down and then add my sand on top. Just be mindful of the shape of your flower and how much you want to maintain that as to how it's laid in the sand, and then cover it completely. Once you have it covered completely, you're going to put the lid on your bowl and you're going to let it sit for 2-3 days, and so those dry out completely. And you can check them every so often and see how they're doing. If they're not fully dry yet, leave them in there until they fully dry. Otherwise, you're gonna risk them losing their color or developing mold or something later on from the moisture that is still intact. So the goal is to remove all of the moisture. I flipped the camera around here so that you can see what I'm doing. These are flowers that I've had sitting in here now for several days, and I'm ready to take them out. When I take them out, they're very delicate, and I want to be very careful not to break them. So I'm gonna put them on my tray as I take them out, and then we can go from there. So I'm just gently pulling on the stem to get them out, and I have a beautiful cosmos that's fully dried, and they're also very delicate, and so you want to be extremely careful when handling them. So I'm just going through the stems I can see and pulling those out. That one didn't make it, but a lot of these are just beautiful flowers that will be great for crafts. It's so fun to see the different results for the different kinds of flowers and enjoy those and begin thinking about how they might be used. Sometimes I like to save the ones that are slightly damaged and use those in making botanical candles, because the wax is going to cover some of that up, and it doesn't matter if it's damaged. So once I have reached the point where I'm getting most of these out, I can then take the bowl and pour off some of the sand. And I pour off some of the sand into my spare box, and then I can see more flowers that I can begin to pull out. So once you've removed all of your flowers from the silica gel and sand, how should they be stored? We don't ever store ours in plastic simply because we don't want to risk moisture ruining them, but you can put them in a paper bag or just lay them in a cardboard box. That's what we tend to like to do. Just lay them flat in a cardboard box, and I even still lay them face down in the cardboard box so that they can stay smooth and not get all bent up before I use them in whatever project I intend to use them for. Thank you for joining us for today's episode. Our goal is to create content that's helpful to you. So if you found today's content helpful, we'd like to ask you to click the like button and subscribe to our channel so that you can receive notifications as to when the next content is published. And as always, if you have comments or questions, always drop those below and we're happy to respond. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.